began millions of years ago when there was a Big Bang. It formed every single universe in an instant, and at the center of it all was reality zero. It's here where the Big Bang left behind a huge mass of energy, and instead of spreading it out, the energy compressed itself into an orb we call the 0 point. This is tethered to every single reality in existence, connecting the entire omniverse, and that's what makes it so incredibly powerful. As a result, it needed to protect itself from anyone who tried to wield this power, and this is where the island is created. On the surface, it appears as a powerful storm with a fake sky, appearing as a huge bubble in space and time. Anyone who tried to visit this island would either be wiped out by the storm's defenses or manipulated by the 0 point's strange effects, until one man came along. Against all of the odds, he captured control of the orb and began to wield its power. We know him as Geno. He's a scientist who is obsessed with perfection and also leader of a medieval kingdom known as the Oathbound. During his time ruling as a champion, Geno started to experiment with future technologies. We're not sure how he discovered the 0 point, but once it was located, he instantly realized its full potential. His long-term vision was to create the perfect society, and his time with the Oathbound was just phase 1 of his true destiny. With the orb, he knew that if he could see how every reality was made and what was different about each one, he could use that information to truly create perfection. So one day he left behind his homeworld, but Geno wanted the kingdom to not lose their leader. In his place, he left behind a clone of himself known as a snapshot. There's still more research to be done into how snapshots truly work, but we do know they're created when someone leaves the loop. Originally, the loop worked very differently, but once Geno got his hands on it, he began to sculpt it for his own evil intentions. So along with the mysterious inner circle, Geno set out to create a new organization known as the Imagined Order. Their headquarters are built around the 0 point, with this location being codenamed the Bridge. With the newfound power, the IO were able to control the effects of the storm, alter people's memories, even unlock immortality. Now, to recruit people for the perfect society, the IO created the Loop. It's a program that forces people to fight each other, but to make it a fair battle, it removes your memory, ability to speak, and every 22 minutes, you fight all over again. It sounds like a great way to judge people, but no one would ever agree to this. So they started kidnapping subjects from countless realities. It was working perfectly. As more fighters proved themselves, Geno offered them immortality in return for joining the Imagined Order. Not only that, their whole family could live on the island and experience the same benefits. It's why we see towns and houses on the map. Not everyone is as lucky though. In fact, some IO guards don't even know they had a previous life. Their memories got wiped as they were forced to know only one thing: how to protect the Order. Thousands of years later, the organization had grown massively and mostly went under the radar until they kidnapped the wrong people. Those who were way too intelligent for the loop and managed to escape it without consequences. This unlikely group of vigilantes are from all corners of the universe, and despite being very different, they have one goal: destroying the Imagined Order and liberating the 0 point. We know them as the Seven.
The first live event which shook the in-game world started off as a shooting star across the skies during Season 3, but as the days turned into weeks, that burning fireball in the sky looked like more than a passing comet. Lookout points and viewing platforms were constructed around the island, welcoming the meteor. We all tried and failed to predict the day it would hit us, and some even predicted alien life to be on board that UFO. Suddenly, without warning, pieces of the comet began to hit the island, destroying man-made structures, influencing fights, and causing havoc everywhere.
The world will never be the same. Brace for impact.
With the introduction of Season 4, Fortnite's island was finally hit by more than debris. Large portions of the former UFO destroyed many areas of the map, with the main impact destroying Dusty Depot and turning it into a barren hole in the ground. Instantaneously, the government erected barriers around the impact site, hiding away the central part of the meteor. Something suspicious was happening. Those remains glowed red, potentially indicating life inside. As the movie crew were filming a scene for It Came From Moisty Mire, something crash-landed into the prison nearby. It was revealed that Omega either landed via meteor or found himself freed by the explosion. Our heroes discovered his secret base in the mountains and began to formulate a plan. In his lair, Omega began to build an army of augmented soldiers to do battle, which took place in Tilted Towers. It was then revealed to be part of the movie, as the actors were seen socializing on set. Ultimately, the film was cashing in on the meteor hitting Dusty Depot. Elsewhere around the island, the cleanup began, with government officials transporting the fragments of the comet, some of which granted anti-gravity abilities momentarily to anyone who touched them. Tilted Towers narrowly avoided complete annihilation, but one building wasn't so lucky. That building and all the other areas were renovated over the following weeks and months. Finally, it looked like all the fragments and hot rocks were being transported to a mountain over by Snobby Shores. The mountain was revealed to be a lair cut into the rock face, hidden from the majority of the island. Some say it was created for a movie shoot, others believe this was a facade and a secret government facility is housed inside, especially as a rocket was seen. Either way, everything was about to change after the final meteor fragment over by the crater was discovered opened, and whoever was inside left a trail of destruction all the way to the mountain lair. The visitor was revealed, but nothing is known about his origins. He quickly found a way to power the rocket, and then came the day he chose to launch, broadcasting the signal to all TVs in the vicinity, either warning the innocent or preparing them for annihilation. Was he here to conquer us, or was he trying to get back home? What happened next only happened a single time and could not be repeated. Here's how it went down. The rift left behind began to eat away at the Fortnite world, with Nom Noms, the Tomato Head and the Durr Burger being ripped from this reality and vanishing overnight. But then something even stranger happened. Items from other worlds began to drop through the rifts in time. A stagecoach was found above Moisty Mire, and a huge anchor was spotted between Snobby Shores and Greasy Grove, which looked ancient in design. Perhaps Roman, perhaps Norse, something was definitely happening here. Okay, back to the story. Let's go back to those load screens. Once the rifts in time and space opened, the Drift character was dragged onto the island alongside the fabled Durr Burger. Bright Bomber and her crew showed Drift around the island, and especially the new areas to discover. Midway through Season 5, the crack in the sky began to burn down a group of cacti, whichever is correct. Once all the cacti were demolished, the rift did this. A mysterious cube was created which gifted shield when close enough, but would repel any damage at the closest player to the cube. So what did we all do? We all killed each other for a while, which was fun. Eventually the cube began to roll around the map and left Nordic runes in the ground, linking back to the Norse theme we found in the Battle Pass, and the theory of Ragnarok, bringing the end to the current world. Over the next month, the cube went about its business, including smashing down the building in Tilted Towers, which has been under construction since Season 4 began. Epic just loved to troll us. Back to the loading screens saw the arrival of the Enforcers, which looked like intergalactic police. We'll have to wait to see what happens here, because even on the last day of Season 5, nothing has been confirmed. Watch this space. So, the cube finally made it over to Loot Lake, and this happened. The moment the floating island was created, the cube took it for a ride and revisited all the rune spots on the island, ripping them out of the ground and transferring some sort of energy to them before moving on to the next. Over 2 weeks, the cube island moved around the map slowly, expanding itself through the house above. Once the cube reached the final rune, another phenomenon happened. All the surrounding runes were ripped from the ground and pulled towards the cube. This time, the cube was feeding from all the runes, and over the next few days, the cube reached its full capacity. The floating runes dropped from the sky and hit the ground, and the cube island went back to its home above Loot Lake. With its newfound energy, the cube projected a beam of light into the air, and Fortnite began. Loot Lake Island was smashed into pieces, but with its job done, the cube began to drain away. The energy and power it had built up for the season opened a gateway to a zombie cataclysm. For 5 days, we battled against the husks. The nightmare was almost over. And to mark the end, another live event brought Chapter 1 to a close, the end of the cube. Rest in peace, Kevin. Here's how it went down. Once Kevin the Cube left us, replacing Loot Lake with Leaky Lake, we thought this must be the end. But as the rainbow dulled, the cold winter air kicked in, and the next episode in the saga began. Down by Flush Factory, a mysterious parachute was discovered with a questionable logo, but this wasn't our major concern, because out in the distance was a cloud of snow quickly moving towards the island. Winter is coming. Suddenly, AIM was uncovered, wearing the exact same logo and subtly hiding in the background of our games, watching us, waiting and reporting back to someone or something. Huge change to the island was witnessed. The cloud of snow hid an iceberg which hit the island, changing the entire lower left third, filling it with snow and icy weather. Life went on, with the destroyed building and tilted towers once again resurrected, but for how long this time? The iceberg brought explorers to the island who set up outposts across the isle, finally telling us who sent AIM in Season 6. But this was only the beginning, as the iceberg slowly melted away, revealing a medieval castle underneath. For weeks, we watched it thaw, uncovering a throne room and a dungeon below with death traps, tools of torture, and sacred dragon eggs. Something was going to happen here. A sword of immeasurable power showed us the iceberg's mysterious potential and turned brother against brother until it was once again locked away under ice. We had a taste of godlike power. For a while, the island was peaceful again. We collectively stopped and saw in the new year together, but far more was yet to come. TV screens around the island sprang into life again, warning of negative temperatures. And then it happened. Above the castle, a sphere, as depicted in the explorer's emblem, appeared. Inside the ice ball was the Ice King, waking from his slumber, gaining strength and summoning mythical energy. And does that look a little bit like Kevin? Just a little bit. The televisions once again counted down the moments until the next live event began. The Ice King awakened. Under the frozen castle, something was happening. A captive was slowly thawing out of his icy prison. His skin was like volcanic rock. Over the next few weeks, the prisoner began to evolve, first removing his shackles before gaining volcanic powers. By the end of Season 7, he had become a molten god to rival the Ice King. Setting up home in Wailing Woods, smoke and ash began to rise. Suddenly, something happened to change the very shape of the Battle Royale island. A volcano sprang up, indicating the start of Season 8. The changing landscape also attracted nearby pirates, who set up their home in Lazy Lagoon. This led to a three-way battle for supremacy: ice versus fire versus those pesky pirates too. As Season 8 continued, the Men in Black, those secret government officials, began to look for something under the island's surface. Dig sites sprang up overnight, and finally, they found it. It was there, under Loot Lake. The place where Kevin walked to all those seasons ago had a secret beneath. A vault, futuristic in design. As time went on, the inhabitants completed tasks to open the vault, and finally the day came. The vault opened, and here's what happened. Wow, a lot to take in there. First, the community voted to bring back the drum gun. Back in the present day, both Retail Row and Tilted Towers were destroyed. And remember that building which was constantly destroyed? Well, that was the one and only building to live through the volcano event. Well played indeed, Epic Games. The event, Jonesy and a human-sized banana, yes, that's a real thing in Fortnite Battle Royale, made their way to a hidden bunker to provide cover whilst the volcano blasts continued. They became trapped inside for so long that Jonesy ate his fruity chum until the future arrived. Set free in a new world, rebuilt after the volcano event, a new Tilted Towers rose up, Neo Tilted, and Retail Row was replaced with a mega mall. The helm from the vault can now be seen in Neo Tilted, but one more thing happened to confuse us further. One of the volcano blasts cracked the ice cap at Polar Peak. In the ice, another being can be seen. A potentially huge being. Is this the all-seeing eye? Or is this some sort of Godzilla-sized behemoth behind that sheet of ice? What will happen next? We didn't have to wait long to find out. Suddenly, the eye was no more, Polar Peak was decimated, and giant footprints led over to the sea. The monster was now circling the island, waiting to strike. But what was it trying to find? What was it after? His first attack at Loot Lake was unsuccessful, but the inhabitants of the island knew they were lucky. Led by Singularity, they began to build defenses, just in case that monster ever returned. Over the next month, a gigantic mech was built in the form of Volcano, combining 5 of the island's most powerful figures. The Mecha Teddy was complete, and moments later, the beast came back. And this happened. And even though we survived, the Nexus, the 0 point, the Orb of Power was exposed, cracking until the day it broke, and brought with it Season X. So Season X is about going back in time, forward in time, and staying in the present all the time. Yeah, Season X is strange. The biggest change comes at Dusty, with the former meteor hit now perpetually hanging over us, ready to strike at any second. The OG containers have returned, and also the factories. This area will be the main focus of the season, compounded by what is floating inside the rock. The capsule of the visitor. And it's already open. Round the corner, the Polar Peak monster has been skewered like an alien shish kebab at the end of Season 9, and now its remains are growing plant life in the shape of a butterfly. Speaking of last season, the orb we saw cracking has now exploded, but immediately paused in time, letting us jump around in anti-gravity. Elsewhere, the season's brilliance began, introducing rift beacons, made from the rocket back in Season 4, confirming our time-travelling theories. These bad boys absorb the energy of the orb and channel that power into what we call a rift zone. The first one of these this season was found at Tilted, which went so far back in time we cosplay as cowboys. At this Tilted, building and harvesting were banned. It was great, a sweat-free zone. Finally, over at Dusty, we saw a satellite dish pop up. Another rift beacon has popped up, this time at Mega Mall, which changed the futuristic shopping mall into the OG retail row. Week 3 saw one of the most iconic areas in Fortnite commemorated. Kevin's birthplace has a statue, as does his final stand. Right in the feels. Over at Dusty, the furthest container from the meteor began to be renovated. Items were thrown outside, and a makeshift workshop was created. The rift beacons were confirmed to be created here, and for 2 days, a fraction of the meteor was spotted on a table. This all confirmed our suspicions that the visitor had returned. Now on to week 4, and yet another beacon popped up, this time at the rec centre. So I scored a few goals to say goodbye, as 2 days later, it was gone. And I mean gone. Nothing replaced it. It was a dig site at best. But there were corrupted pickup items around the site. The description in the patch notes confirmed the rift beacon malfunctioned, and this was not part of the visitor's plan. Over at the visitor's lair at Dusty, the building has evolved massively this week. A walkway added, and ultra-modern workstations too. An extra satellite dish popped up, and even a few weights, which now, come to think of it, was a hint towards a buff version of the visitor. And out of nowhere, another rift beacon popped up, this time in the middle of, well, nowhere. And that place became Pandora from the Borderlands series.
Protect me, minion! I'm single-handedly winning this whole thing!
Over in Dusty once again, this week the visitor was spotted building or maybe breaking apart mechs, scanning each part individually. What the hell is he up to? We shall see soon. Week 6 already? Time flies. And speaking of flying, this week saw the return of Kevin the Cube and his flying island. Like usual, a rift beacon brought him back, but this time it happened in Fatal Fields, and Fatal Fields remains in one piece. It's a miracle. Dusty, the mech parts continue to be scanned and change routinely. Week 7 has arrived, and this week it's like meme world here. In a break from tradition, the visitor placed down not one, but 2 rift beacons on the map, which gave us 2 of the strangest locations in Fortnite history. Greasy Grove returned. Yay! But every 45 seconds we were forced to dance with tacos in our hands. Yeah, weird. This tied into the new restaurant, which sells tacos. Over in Paradise though, we got Moisty Palms, and I mean that, literally that's its name. Crouching here turned us into prop hunt objects, including a toilet. I told you this was a really messed up week. Over at Dusty, the building now has scaffolding preparing for a rocket launch. Season 4 vibes, anyone? Inside the scanning continues, but what could he be scanning for? Oh, and look where the windsock is pointing. Yep. Straight at the meteor. It's now week 8. Kevin's Island continues to circle the map. The biggest news of the week is the unlockable skin became available. The Scientist, aka Thick Boy Visitor. Depending on who you talk to, people believe he's either a new character or like me, they think he's an upgraded version of the Visitor. No one knows for certain, not just yet. What we can confirm is the creation of the rocket. Here's the bottom section, which gives us a few weeks for the Scientist's erection to be ready. In the containers, we can also see elements which will be added over the coming days and weeks. At the end of the week, a new rift beacon popped up inside Tilted again, and get this, a Batarang had appeared next to it. I actually may get to say holy shit, Batman with the right context. So it's 2 days later. Holy shit, Batman! Gotham City has arrived in a huge crossover to celebrate Batman's 80th birthday. We got to become the Bat and spend time with our parents. Oh, happy days. Week 9. This week, the Rift Beacon appeared above Pleasant Park and a few days later gave us Starry Suburbs. Originally, it was in the first version of Fortnite Battle Royale, but by the time the game became available to everyone, it was gone again. And then, in Season 2, it came back again. And then a few weeks later, it went again. Yeah, it's a bit confusing how that works. But anyway, right now in Season X, Starry Suburbs is back, it's fully renovated, and it has falling stars from the sky with weapons inside. The sacred golden SMG from the trailer can be found in Starry Suburbs. Over to Dusty, and it's now complete. The rocket is finished. The visitor has worked overtime to complete this beast. Parts were added over the week, but the big news is that the scanned brute parts have found a corruption, a virus in the system. From this point, the virus made all falling mechs explode on impact, which made many players delighted. Week 10, the last week, right? Over in Dusty, the rocket has everything added which is needed before the event, and the control panel became active and interactable too. Every few days, the signal grew stronger. Maybe the original visitor is trying to contact the new visitor. Time travel is weird. And then it happened. We finally got a date. The rocket projected the time and began to count down, as did all the TVs on the island. And yeah, that includes all those TVs at Westworld. And now we wait and see what happens next. And now we're here, the final week, week 11. We have the cassette tapes from 1980 to find for extra information about the visitor. The locations were Gotham, Starry Suburbs, Greasy Grove, Moisty Palms, Kevin's Island, and Retail Row. Oh, they're all rift zones. Interesting. The recordings were lost in time and maybe have clues to understand what the hell is going on this island for the last 2 years. Here's what we've got so far.
What the 7 of us are attempting is very risky. I suspect they are not the only ones watching, but it must be done or we lose the bridge forever. I speculate that no one calculated the formation of the island, that interdimensional matter collisions would resolve rather than push. Now that I witnessed it firsthand, it's obvious that pinching alone made it inevitable. When I hear this again, will it help me remember? Or once looped, will I be just as muted as the others? No matter, it seems the lengthy precautions worked. The galactic theorem was a success. You arrived outside the loop at the exact moment of expansion. This effectively paused the singularity, giving us time to create the devices needed to synchronize the junction. What I didn't factor was that the only way to trigger the device was from within the loop itself. Thus this hasty and primitive recording, and why now I find myself looped. Activate the beacon at precisely the moment this timer reaches nothing. The 0 point must be contained once more. If they are correct, it will be the end.
how the evil is grown, all the innocence lost. We need a new beginning, man, the vision is off. We need to wage war, yeah, we need to rage on. I'm here, war boots, I'ma buy a pair. No suits, just spikes, yeah. Grassroots in some white gear. I'm still fly like a pilot, yeah. Brave hearts never die in fear. I ain't a stranger to the danger. I'ma live and I'm dying here, yeah. So I'm